Good evening and warm welcome to all for the webinar of Thrissur Management Association. Today's webinar topic is very interesting topic, value creation and impact of digitization on business and professions. And we are very much privileged and honored to have the presence of an eminent speaker, none other than Managing Director and CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank, Mr. Sunil Garbhasani. May I request our Senior Vice President of TMA, Dr. V.M. Xavier, to welcome the gathering. Over to Dr. V.M. Xavier.
Thank you, Sony CL. Good evening. Sony CL, President of Thrissur Management Association. Chief guest of the day, Mr. Sunil Garbhasani, MD and CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank. CA T.S. Anandaraman, past President and former Chairman of Catholic Syrian Bank. Sri Sijo Ponor, Honorary Secretary of TMA. Vice President, Engineer Vinod Mandala. Treasurer, CA Manoj Kumar. Joint Secretary, Sri Padamarki. Past Presidents of TMA. Management Committee members. Presidents of Bombay Management Association, Calcutta Management Association. Ladies and gentlemen. Thrissur Management Association has got one more feather on its cap. It has been selected as the second best local management association of All India Management Association. Last month, we got one more advantage from All India Management Association. It has been nominated to the All India Management Council of All India Management Association. All these were possible only because of our young and dynamic president, CA Sony CL. He's a result-oriented man. Wherever he goes, he'll be bringing an award for that association. That is his credentials. And TMA was very fortunate to get such kind of president for the last 1 year. So, congratulations, CA Sony CL, our president, and welcome you to this meeting. Today we have got a young, dynamic chief guest, a very handsome man. When you look his hair, when you look his hairs and mustache, you will find he's too young. Too young. I doubt whether he's that much old to become the CEO or MD of a bank in Thrissur. So vibrant, so dynamic. Definitely, I hope there will be a turnaround for Dhanlaxmi Bank in the coming 3 years. And Thrissurians are very fond of investing in the shares of various companies in Kerala, in India. And this time, it's an opportunity for Thrissurians to invest in Dhanlaxmi Bank. They can boldly invest because Sunil Garbhasani is the next CEO of the Dhanlaxmi Bank. Definitely, there will be a turnaround. You can multiply the value of your shares if you invest in the shares of Dhanlaxmi Bank. He has got vast experience in banking of State Bank of India and Axis Bank. He started from branch banking, branch head to the national level head. So he knows in and around all the activities of a banking industry. So such person is becoming the MD and CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank. He has graduated in commerce. He's a BCom graduate. Also took his MA in economics and MBA holder and CAB holder. And he's a really learned person. And Thrissurians are very lucky to get such a dynamic person as the CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank. And Dhanlaxmi Bank used to associate with Thrissur Management Association, especially for giving the scholarships to the MBA students on merit cum means basis. I hope that will continue in future as well. So I take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, the young, dynamic CEO of Dhanashri Bank, Mr. Sunil Garbaksani, to this meeting. Today, we have got another person to introduce Sunil Garbaksani. He is none other than our past president and former chairman of CSB Bank Limited. And as you know, he was the youngest ever CA holder of CA holder in India. He passed the CA examination at the age of 19. He was a first rank holder for his BCom in Kerala, and he has got a lot of laurels to his credit. So he is here, and we are very proud to say that he was our past president. And he is here to introduce our chief guest. I take this opportunity to welcome our past president, CATS Anandaraman, to this meeting. And we have our vibrant honorary secretary, Sri Sijo Ponor. I take this opportunity to welcome him to this meeting. Our vice president, Engineer Vinod Manjila, and our treasurer, C. Manoj Kumar, joint secretary, Sri Pradap Varki, all are here. I take this opportunity to welcome all these members, office bearers to this meeting. And also I am very happy to welcome all our past presidents of TMA, management committee members, and all the members of TMA to this meeting. And this time I am very glad to see that nearly 78 people have joined already for this meeting. Many of them are from different parts of the country. The Bombay Management Association President, Calcutta Management Association President. This is a rare opportunity that we get people like them joining in this meeting. This is the advantage of digital transformation that is happening because of the COVID-19 crisis. So I take this opportunity to welcome all the office bearers of various management associations from Calcutta, from Bombay, from Malappuram. I welcome them to this meeting. I also welcome all the members who have joined for this meeting and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. V.
Thank you, sir.
Xavier, for the nice welcome address. Our beloved chief guest, Mr. Sunil Garbasani, Managing Director and CEO of Dhanashri Bank Limited. Senior Vice President of TMA, Dr. V.M. Xavier, Secretary Sijo Ponur, CATS Anandaraman, past President and former Chairman of CSB Bank Limited, and my dear members. As mentioned earlier by our Senior Vice President, Dr. V.M. Xavier, our Thrissur Management Association TMA bagged the Best LMA Award runner-up in Category 3. It is a proud moment for all of us because the Category 3 is having a lot of big local management association. We got this award just because of the hard work, dedication, and commitment of our members. I dedicate this award to the members of TMA. Of course, the team TMA is very strong, especially for our Secretary Sijo Ponur, the way in which he is coordinating the activities of TMA is quite amazing. Sijo is always very calm and quiet and executing the task silently. And of course, our Senior Vice President, Dr. V.M. Xavier, our teacher, always guiding us towards the pursuit of excellence. Our Treasurer, C.A. Manoj Kumar, a humble and simple personality. Our treasury is under safe hands of a good treasurer, C.A. Manoj Kumar. Likewise, our Vice President, Engineer Vinod Manjila, Honorary Joint Secretary, Pradap Varki, CEO Francis George, Student Chapter Quartet, Shaji Piche, Editor, Ranjan Sridharan. They are all forefront in coordinating the activities of the TMA. Apart from that, we have a galaxy of past presidents like CATS Anandaraman, Mr. VP Joseph, VP Nandakumar, Engineer MR Govalashtan, V. Venugopal, Engineer P. Ananda Menon, Engineer C.V. Anthony, Engineer Krishna George, Shantakumar, N.A. Varghese, and of course, immediate past Secretary Palpa Kumar. They're all helping us to coordinate the activities of the TMA. This is the real reason behind why we are able to make this achievement. This award will be presented during the IMA 47th National Management Convention, which is being held online on a specially curated platform on 21st and 22nd September of this month. The National Management Program is looking great with some excellent speakers who will be addressing the event from India and overseas. I request everyone, please register to the National Management Convention. The link is already shared with you. Further, we are sharing the link to join the program chat box of this program. You put the name Thrissur or TMA in the place of city. Many dignitaries addressing the National Management Convention. Normally, we used to travel to Delhi to attend the National Management Convention. Rajneesh Kumar, Chairman of the State Bank of India, Sanjeev Mehta, Managing Director, Hindustan Lever Limited, Sanjeev Bajaj, Bajaj Finserv, Sanjay Kirloskar, past President of IMA, and many other dignitaries are attending this convention. So I request kindly make use of this opportunity. Normally, we won't get such an opportunity because we have to travel at least 2 days to reach Delhi and come back. So this is a golden opportunity. The registration is free. I request all members to join to this program. Once again, warm welcome all of you to this value creation and impact on digitization, business and profession. And today, we are very lucky to have the presence of eminent personality, Mr. Sunil Garbhasani. When we contacted him through our past president, C.A. T.S. Sanadaraman, he already agreed to attend our webinar. And his vast experience in fintech will be really advantageous to us to how to create a digital transformation or how to impact our business using the digitization, how to create value to our business using the technology. Is a lot great experience in this field. I'm not taking too much of your time. I wish everyone a very fruitful session ahead. Thank you very much. Now, may I request our past president and former chairman of CSB Bank Limited, C.A. T.S. Sanadaraman, for introducing our chief guest.
Thank you, Sony. Am I
yes.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you, Sony, very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce a good friend of mine, Mr. Sunil Garbhasani. He has been appointed as the Managing Director and CEO of our dear bank, Dhanlaxmi Bank Limited, for 3 years from February of this year. As already mentioned, he is an MA Economics, CA IAB, and MBA. All qualifications in banking you can think of, he already has. Now, our Vice President, Professor Xavier, mentioned about his youthful looks. I do not know how many of you have seen him directly. I can vouch for it. When I read the biodata, I see 3 decades of experience. But when you look at him, he looks, that youthful exuberance is so evident, so obvious. And Xavier also mentioned about expectations from him. I can assure you, Xavier, within less than 6 months of his arrival, I had a good opportunity to discuss with him about the plans and what he has been able to do in the bank. I can assure all of you, Thrissurians, that within 5 to 6 months, he has done what was planned for more than a year. The performance has been exceptionally good, and I indeed look forward to a great period for Dhanlaxmi Bank in the next 2-3 years. As already briefly introduced, I don't want to read the biodata, it is already in your hands. I just only want to point out that starting from a branch head, he had the opportunity to work in two of India's finest banks, State Bank of India and Axis Bank. In Axis Bank, he rose to the level of head of SME.
Yeah, Executive Vice President.
National. Their coming to has been a privilege for us. Now, Sunil, I want to tell you one thing. For me, Trichure is very important. We are very proud of the Trichure Puram, our Trichure round, and of course, the 3 bands of Trichure. So we have a lot of expectations from you, and I have no doubt the few months that we have interacted with each other, I have no doubt that you will deliver, and we are looking forward to a great period in our dear Bank of Dhanlaxmi, which has been very close to Trichure Management Association in every possible way, and I'm sure the cooperation will continue in the years to come under your dynamic leadership. Before I pass on, let me use this opportunity to congratulate Sony and the team for winning the prestigious national award, that too in the higher category. Trichure, compared to the other cities in which our group is now put, Trichure is a very small place. It's only due to the extraordinary work done by Sony and a great team under him, Sijo and people around them, that we have been able to achieve. Congratulations, Sony. Sunil, look forward to a very, very interesting next 1 hour with you and the next 2 to 3 years for Trichure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, CATS Sanataraman sir, for a nice introduction. Now, on to Sunil Garbasani. We are all eagerly waiting to hear from you. This is a time for FinTech, Agritech, EduTech companies. And you have a vast experience in this technical field and how we can create value to the business or portion, and also the impact on the business and portion. Thank you. That's all to you, Sunil Garbasani.
Thank you, Mr. Soni. I'm really glad. I'm really happy to be amongst all of you on a Friday evening. And I'm sure you have taken time from your better halves that you'll be engaged for another 45 minutes to 1 hour. And I hope they have their permissions also. So as a part of activity that TMA is doing, I was told in the first week of March, I was barely a week old in this institute, but I heard about the TMA. I had a chance to meet a couple of TMAs, in the sense that AMA, if I say so, Ahmedabad Management Association, had a chance to meet them on different occasions and attended some programs there. But before I start my thoughts, which I have gathered, consolidated over a period of last 2-3 days time, I would honestly compliment the TMA for doing such a painstaking job, which has really been rewarded in the category where you won the award. The second, on the lighter side of it, Xavier sir, thank you very much. I wish my wife would have been around to hear about me. So I'm sure she would have been glad. But unfortunately, I definitely convey, unfortunately she's not around. I stay alone, but I certainly would convey what I heard from you. The third is more of a confession. While I'm surrounded by all of the industry leaders, the captains, and the wonderful, brilliant professionals, if I say so, having met some of you, I indeed get a sense that TMA has a congregation of best minds, and they come together to really do what best can be done for the city, for the Trichurians, if I say so. The point of confession that I was saying is, I'm being honest and sort of brutally honest that I don't carry a Ivy College degree. Neither I've been to IMAs of the world or IITs of the world. But yes, 3 decades plus working in State Bank and the Axis Bank gave me an opportunity to move around, meet people. Now, right from a student to a college going student, to a professionals, to entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, not so successful entrepreneurs, the housewives, the professionals, HNIs, ultra HNIs. And the journey has taken me all over the world. I mean, all over the country, if I say so. World, of course, I would add a little later separately, having traveled 16, 17 countries. But from within the country, if you look at the diversity and in which you could operate, you would get along with the people. I'm extremely thankful for the Trishurians for giving me such a warm welcome. And I've been really feeling that I'm now integral part of the society, if I say so. So I don't carry Ivy College degree, but yes, it has taught me a lot of lessons as a banker that I've moved around. And I would tell you very honestly, little spark that I carry would mean being outrightly frontal way of approaching anybody. So I have no hesitation, and I'm being admitting in the larger forum. If there was an opportunity when Mukesh Ambani was passing by, I would have asked for meeting him. If it was a Virat Kohli after winning a match, he was on a lounge, I couldn't care about the security around him. I went and tapped on his shoulder. I said, Virat, I need a selfie with you. Whatever the outcome, this is not really the occasion to tell you. But yes, the reason of saying that, did you attempt? The purpose of reaching up here right from the beginning, from a branch to a MD and CEO's position, what has not stopped me is to making an attempt. So we are in profession, we are in business, we are doing maybe hundreds and thousands crores of businesses. We are successful in the manner that we do. But we do make an extra attempt to really see what is the opportunity at this point of time. Once opportunity is lost, I think my sense is the opportunity lost forever. The second thing is the story that I wanted to start with. So this is a kind of preamble. The other story, which very aptly sort of pronounce the purpose of digitization, the technology, the transformation that we are talking about. It was almost 3 to 4 years ago that I read a story about Satya Nadella, the Microsoft chief, writing a letter to a newborn baby. Now you'll be surprised, what does that mean? He's writing to one of his managers who got a newborn baby, and this letter says to a newborn baby, not to his father, who was a manager in his firm, the Microsoft. He wrote a message to the newborn baby: while you prepare yourself to come to the world, we are doing a little bit of ourselves to make world around you slightly better. I think that touched my heart in saying, are we ready for the future? Not as an institution, not as a professional, are we as a human being? Are we ready? Are we seeing the opportunities around? No matter the crisis. So leave apart for a while the COVID that we are struggling with. I'll briefly cover the challenges that we have seen during the COVID. And also my thought about the Lakshmi Bank to how we unlock the problems come with an opportunity. So what are those quick few opportunities that we try to capitalize, work on it, so that I stand true to my commitment to the Lakshmi Bank, also to the society that we are part of. If it was a story of saying that are we future ready, it was Satya Nadella's comment to a newborn baby that stayed with me and saying, look, as a banker, we are part of social fabric. And I can't see my existence without helping the entire landscape which exists with all of us around. Do I make an attempt to tell the potential customers, the investors around me, that we are well placed? And thanks to the legacy, thanks to the pedigree of this institution, which has been led by many renowned the businessmen and the professionals who have shaped the design of this organization over the last 90 years plus. I am fortunate enough to really be here at the helm of affairs when most of things are behind us. And then we are well placed. Anandraman sir has absolutely due respect. I treat him as my local guardian, as an elder brother. But indeed, he came with so much of confidence and a belief that yes, try your best. We are seeing the Lakshmi Bank in safe hands. The destiny is the God who decides what exactly eventually going to shape up, how much hard work that I can put in. But yes, indeed, I promise you, all of you, that I would no less be passionate about what my commitment is to all of you and to the society and to the institution in general. Let's move to the typical part of digitization and the world that we are talking about. I think it's no secret that all of us have seen the journey of last 10 to 15 years. As a banker, I'll narrate a small story. I think that makes enough sense for me. In the late 90s, that I was a branch head in Vastrapur, Ahmedabad. And I happened to meet, I was fortunate enough, as I said, in the journey that I have learned as a lifelong learner. So I happened to meet a professor called Mr. B.H. Jaju, who was the IT professors in IIM Ahmedabad. And like all other 28, 30 odd professors that I had a chance to meet up, this gentleman comes out because he was an IT person. And my curiosity about IT to saying what is the next kind of transformation, the change that we talk about. And please remember, all of you would distinctly recall, in those days, a Nokia bulky handphones that we would generally be carrying. And so I, with my inquisitive nature, the curiosity that I reached out to Professor B.S. Jaju, who eventually became the Dean of IIM Ahmedabad, to ask him, sir, what do you think this mobile, the handset that we are talking about, going to do 5 years from now? Remember, it was 1998. We've just barely been able to get those. So he's saying, Sunil, you will find Aishwarya Rai dancing on your palm. I remember that example, why this is a very typical way of saying that data, the download, the speed at which you'll find all your movies and the entertainment will actually precisely come on your palm. So he was no wrong. When I met him in 2005, by the time we saw the data download happening, we could see a lot of transformation in the mobile banking. And as a banker, I'll cover that separately, what possibly we tried in Axis Bank. There was another example, so another chance that I met him in 2005 or 2006. I really appreciated that he could foresee what was happening 5 years, 10 years down the line as a professor. So I, as a lifelong student, lifelong learner, as a student, I asked him, sir, what next? Where do you see this mobile trying to help us? Then he said, sooner than said, the mobile is going to be an identity of yours. And I think all of us would agree in one way or the other. Some of us are little hesitant still to adopt the mobile as a part of it. But ask any youngsters who is in early 20s or early 30s, you will find everything that possibly one could do today is on fingertips. Right from your entertainment, booking food, calling for or hailing a taxi, in an enormous manner in which the mobile has penetrated in our life is amazing. No one would have ever thought of 5 years or 10 years back. Now let's look at how this gradual invention over a period of happening. I'm going to take you back a little to say we had the CDs, then CDs became floppies, DVDs. Now imagine the core to this change is most of the time the same institutions, your belief system that there's something is going to happen which is going to transform the manner in which we do ourselves. Three things. One, that the way we live. The second, the way we earn. The third is the way we spend. I'll deliberate on these three aspects of it slightly later. But coming back to the example of what happened when something dramatic change was to happen. And again, a small story which Steve Jobs had actually shared in one of his articles. Then again, the late 90s, he was developing their prototype, which would have a touch screen phones. And remember, till late 90s, we didn't have touch screen phones. The world was fascinated with the Blackberries, the Nokias of the world. Now, no one would have imagined that we will reach a mobile, which is called smartphone today. So he chose and showed this prototype of his touch screen to a friend of his over a dinner in a restaurant. And when he was showing his prototype, his friend commented, "Boss, world is sold over to BlackBerry." And I remember that was a prestigious piece as a branch head in 1998, 99. I would have thought, yeah, I would soon should have BlackBerry. But this friend of his, when he was saying, oh, world is sold over to the BlackBerry, I don't think people would really be interested. The Steve Jobs answer was only simple. The world will get used to it. And that's remaining, the rest is history, as they say. The belief system or the conviction of saying what I'm trying to do will last longer than we would have ever thought of. We must realign ourselves that what is our thought process. No matter you are a professor or a chartered accountant or a doctor or a lawyer, every aspect of it that has undergone a minor change. A recent example, that is just to showcase how things have, I mean, I wouldn't have imagined as a person, I wouldn't have ever imagined. Some of you would have heard, and some people from Bombay, my friends on this screen from Bombay would know. The one renowned actress, the house was demolished. It became a controversy, it's still in the news, everything is fine. But the critical part that I'm trying to share here is the stay was taken by the lawyer by doing what? When he saw this demolition happening, his house getting completely ransacked, he stepped into a neighbor house and he sought the stay order online from the High Court. And he got that online stay. That's the world that is trying to say that we are changing. We are adopting the technology much faster than one would have thought of. Let's move to the another idea of what do we see going forward. So they briefly touched upon what has happened in the last 5-10 years. I certainly can tell you how these things are changing our business model. Every business, no matter you are a trader or a sort of 200 crore turnover company or a 1,000 crore company or a 10,000 crore company, everyone has to really hit the refresh button. And how soon we should be doing it? My sense as a banker, I've seen this, what the speed at which the changes have happened, and it's going to change everybody's life much faster, much deeper than ever you would have thought of. I think the refresh button has to be essentially every 2 to 3 years time, which means a business model are changing, the way we attract the customers, the way we deliver the services to the customer. There is hardly any business that I can talk about who would not be impacted or still not be on the digital part of it. And in the process, we try to generate the value for the customer and also for the enterprise that we are part of. Now, how do I quantify this? I mean, the small traders, the roadside mechanic today has a UPI app. He would know you transfer this money through Google Pay or the UPI app, Beam app. The penetration level has gone further down. Up till the company, the Reliance, if I say so, they are trying to tie up with the WhatsApp to say 6 lakh Kirana stores across the country would have a technology-based support available in terms of their cash receivables, the payments happens through that. And I think that's the way the network of entire technology is going to bite us, and before we realize, is going to be part of our own existence, as I said that. Now, moving to the other part of it, I did mention about the way we are way we are impacted in our lifestyle, in our earning and our spending. Work from home is just an example, but the way we are commuting, the way we are buying, the way we are spending. I don't remember in the last couple of years that I would have ever paid, at least my wife would have paid a cash payment to the house help. House help also knows that is a very important and piece that I can save money for myself, and then I do. Now, these 3 things translate into the other 3 things, which I'm sure my colleagues and my friends here would relate very clearly. What first? The situation that we are in, one thing that we should realize is how do we survive, then revive, and then thrive. I'm repeating again, the manner in which we have to survive. Competition is going to really make you sort of knock down as possibly a much faster pace that you would have ever thought of. What do you mean by that? How do you really see the quick onboarding of your businesses that will help you to keep sustaining, which means you keep surviving? The second point that I have clear idea about is how do I revive? The revival on a standalone basis or on a collaboration basis, that is another point of discussion that we can have. The thrive, as you consolidate your position from the survival to the revival and then thriving, there you need a lot more on what you can acquire. Some of the businesses that can be acquired, there can be a lot more coordination of 3 chartered accountants coming together, building a firm, building a network of which most of you are doing it, but how the lawyer and the doctors are seeing the medical cases without even the patient visiting to their houses. And most of the advanced countries have already shown it. And I think we are no far from the reality that we would see. While I speak further on this IoTs, the virtual augmentation and the AR and IR, I'll certainly touch upon what my sense is that from a digital part of it, we can see the change in the manner in which the experience of a consumer, not only from a banking consumer point of view, but a common man from any profession or the line or the range of businesses that you do, how it's going to change over a period of time that I'll try to cover. And possibly 1 or 2 solutions that I personally believe can help us. So having said this, what is our disciplined approach to the reskilling? And remember, each skill has a shelf life that I spoke about. Let's move to the second part of it that I was trying to cover a little more on that part of. Historically, in the last many decades that we have been part of it, many of us are born in those decades. We always send that. So there is a book that I read quite a few years ago, was Alvin Toffler. He spoke about how this mankind has really seen a shift happening. The way we kind of, from the civilization that happened and started out, we were all nomads. We were all sort of wanderers. And then we came to agrarian economy. And from agrarian economy, we went to industrial economy. From industrial-based economy, we moved to info age. Info age is actually reaching to a much higher level. And I'll not be surprised it happens much sooner than anyone of us would have thought of. We are at the cusp of a change. Now look at the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and also the robotic analytics. Today, I certainly can tell you the manner in which I saw our earlier bank, I'm not going to name it, but yes, you could predict and to a large extent correct based on the data analysis. And on the lighter side of it, data reveals a lot more about you. And data is the new gold. And in northern side of it or the western side of it, there's a famous saying, I'm sure some bit of Hindi that you would understand, beta jhoot bol sakta hai, data jhoot nahi bolta hai. I mean, I'm repeating again for all of you to understand and sort of absorb it, that beta is son, beta jhoot bol sakta hai, data jhoot nahi bolta hai. Your son can lie, but your data cannot lie. I think no one would have a debate on saying that whether it is possible or not, but I'm only saying on the lighter side of it, yes, that's the validity of data. And the bank that I worked with, and we implemented it honestly by saying, if I have a customer analysis correct, and I have segmented the customers clearly, I know what is his most likely second product that he will buy from the bank. And to that extent, we could see a conversion. So what happens is when you have a 20 products to sell or a 10 products to sell or a pitch to a customer, you would have no clue which product he is most likely to buy. But the data analysis, the predictive analysis that will tell you out of this 5, this is one product which he is most likely to buy. Which means you become from a corporate bombing, you become a sharpshooter. Sharpshooter, you identify the target and then you hit. I think the most likely that you will be successful. And that's where we have seen our journey that we have gone through, and we have continuously on that path. The second point that I would want to try and explain on the benefits of the technology that we are talking about. Now, so let me put on the virtual reality and the augmented reality. The couple of benefits that I can see across businesses. So please don't look at from a banking point of view. I may have some tilt towards the banking because I've lived the banker's life for the last many years. But having seen the many industries where I said many successful, unsuccessful entrepreneurs the professionals, the defense guys, and the doctors and the professors that I would have met, have learned that they also have changed the manner in which they do the banking, and they save the money much better than they possibly would have done 5 years or 10 years ago. What does it help? Now, your virtual reality and the augmented reality, which is the next thing to happen, is going to change your customer experience. You being my customer or prospective customer, you would have your own prospective customers. Certainly, it's going to change the customer experience. It's going to bring in far more transparency. The bankers face the biggest challenge today is they trust us. But is there enough transparency? The product that I pitch him is the best product suitable to him. In some cases, in most cases, you may find there will be some bit of a debate, and the confusion, the distrust comes in sooner the product is sold. The second is, how do we really see the next generation growth coming in? Unless until we have certain changes to build our business empire, the models on a different ground, the sustainability of business becomes a very big challenge. And therefore, I have a kind of assurance, if I say, or some degree of certainty to say that if we are to really see a next generation growth to unlock, the virtual reality and the augmented reality is the way going forward. That also would obviously mean much better risk. It's also going to mean faster decisions. A trader can possibly decide on the pricing, the features of the product, the manufacturing of the product much faster than what he does today. The other thing this is going to change the landscape is IoT, Internet of Things. As country prepares for the 5G as we go further, we're certainly going to see a much faster speed at which the business decisions are going to happen. It's going to have a better monitoring. It's going to have internal and external customers' happiness and satisfaction growing far superior. And of course, from a safety and security point of view, it'll be far better than the today. The point I'm trying to explain more on about the initial period that we talked about, roti, kapda, and makan. So the three necessities, the dire necessities that we had spoken about, that included only the roti, kapda, or makan. Now today, it includes your data, insurance, and also investments. I'll cover on the data part of it because everything is on your fingertips. Every safeguarding of your money that you would want to cover is all about the data, is about the protection for yourself, and also how your money grows further. And these are essentially some of the inputs that I can give you as an MD and CEO. Going forward, the organization has to build his research and the technology so robust that the Thrissurians should be happy to say, oh, here is a bank who's trying an attempt to give us much safer banking environment and also a kind of customized solution or something which I can manufacture for Mr. Soni separately and Mr. Anantraman sir separately. And of course, as I said, Xavier sir will definitely have a different package to be offered. The fine I'm talking about is the creation part of it is, where do I see this new requirement apart from the roti, kapda, and makan? Where do I see this protection and your insurance and your data merging with each other? The challenges, one challenge that as a banker that I would have faced and I continue to see is how do I converse in the local language? All of us are literate enough, we all know, and fortunately the Kerala also is the state which is the highest literacy. But look at the interiors of the state or any city or any district, you'll find still the language is a barrier. If technology has to convert and allow you to learn in that language that you understand more than I speak, I think that will be a far better penetration as we go. What do we mean by that is when you have a conversation in the language that you understand the most, decision making becomes faster, the understanding of the requirement becomes faster, and the protection and the needs of the person are met much faster. How this technology is going to help? I have a strong belief, and I have a sense saying that technology alone in its own individual isolation basis cannot do. It has helped the mind the prowess, the power of human mind is unlocking its potential. So machine alone, the virtual reality alone is not going to help. If it is combined with the brain, the human mind, I think that's a combination that one should look forward to and making our life much more safer and easier as I go further. What we are trying to do internally within the bank, I'm trying to explain to our internal people that being a tech savvy is gone. We used to say a year ago or 2 ago or 5 years ago that we are tech savvy guys. I think the tech has to go further, sharper, and say we are analytical savvy. Anything that is being spoken about, is it supported by the analytics that gives me an answer to anything that we need to do? How do we see a change going forward? As a matter of fact, that as a bank that I would have seen over a period of 30 years was one critical part of it. Every 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, the customer's expectations change. And as a banker, the biggest challenge that I face, and I'm sure any professions for that matter, is how I maintain the engagement with my consumer alive. How many consumer I acquire, how many consumers I lose. And how do I see as a banker or any profession for that matter, I ring fence those customers. Today, the choices are many. One would not be happy with my one branch, would have a choice to walk 500 meters on the right or 500 meters on the left. He would have half a dozen bank branches around him. So is it my surveys or my technology, my acceptance far better? How would data analytics, I'll give you an example which I introduced here in less than 2 months' time, is to figure out how many customers have not transacted with me in last 3 months. Which means these are the customers who have balances, who have money with me, and they are banking with me for a good number of years. But I see there's no transaction. Unlike 3 months of last year, they transacted. What does that mean? It's just an input, just a data. That if you have to sort of churn the data and then you realize, oh, there is only a withdrawal from that account happening. It means that you step in fast and reach out to him. Is there any dissatisfaction? Did I do anything wrong that has made you to move to another bank or any other competitor? I think the relevance of engagement with the customer is far more prevalent in any organization or any business or any trade or any manufacturing that we are in. So I'll come back to the point of, as I discussed earlier, on the value creation part of it and how it's going to change all of our lives. Unless we think of 3 things, again, I'm saying that we started off, I still believe some of my colleagues would be banking on my intelligent quotient. That was started off 10 years, 15 years ago, IQ. IQ was the best word to talk about in most of the MBA colleges were talked about. Then we moved from IQ to EQ, emotional quotient. It survived. It has its own value. Empathy, without empathy, you really can't do much to your business. And as this TMA does to the philosophy, the motto of this whole association is to build the community around and do what better you can do. And I would certainly draw this point of my empathy about the social fabric that I'm part of. If I don't have empathy for the society, in no matter what business that I am, I will not make a much of justice or impact on the society that I am in. So coming back to the society creation, as I said, from a IQ to EQ and EQ to social quotient, SQ. Let's try to build that as a part of our own existence. And beyond a point, you need the entire people, society around to help. What we try to do is to build that trust and transparency. So that's the second point that I wanted to add. As long as you build the trust and the transparency in the functioning that you do, I'm sure people are going to really like you, they love you, they be with you all through your time. And last but not the least, as a banker, that I would stop my conversation from here, and then I'll be looking forward to the question answers, is that how do I really add as a banker to build value for you in terms of value creation, the wealth creation? Do I have enough of advisory capabilities? Do I have enough of research within that could help you why a particular product is important to you? And I've learned it as a childhood. My mother would often be saying that you have to take a medicine And I would resist possibly. And she will hold my nose, and he said, by the time I would open my mouth and put the tablet in it, and so it's going to cure you fast. So customers also would need some amount of persuasion, a belief system to say, my wealth creation, my investment advisory work, my insurance, health, for an example, the bankers are banking, the banks in particular are the most trusted and worthwhile institution to give you a wholesale solution to say, I care for you. Anything that you may need from a wealth creation for your kid, your granddaughter, grandson, your wife's medical health, and your some investment for your for your daughter's education or her marriage or son's business, buying a new house, buying a new car, buying gold. Look at that one that possibly banks can do. So, nutshell, banking that I can see over a period of time. I used to say earlier that my wish, my desire would be 3 years, 5 years from now, the Lakshmi Bank would say, we are a technology firm and we also do banking. I think that's the vision, that's the thought that I would have, where I would certainly see where I can first survive in the competition that we have, then we kind of revive most of the business that we can do, and then we do a collaboration with most of the companies and the institutions and the technology firms that are available to add experience to my consumers, my customers, and my borrowers, and at large, the society that I'm part of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stop here. I hope I'm not taking too much of your time. Try to build around a story that I learned, many things that you would know much more than me. But I'm really, really thankful for an opportunity to interact, speak for such a lovely audience. Any questions, Ms. Soni, that you can think I would be able to answer? I'll be glad to answer this.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil. As mentioned by Dr. V.M. Xavier, you are not only sweet and beautiful in appearance, but also in speech also it is like that. You went through the length and breadth of the subject, whether it is artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and so on. Anyway, the impact of the digitization, as you mentioned, rightly in this Mumbai, this demolition case, earlier we cannot expect to get a high court order in a such short span of time. Digitization enable everything. I request members, you can show your hands, raise your hands in the bottom side of the chat, or you can type in chat box. Let me begin with a question from Mr. Chakola. In brief, what is your strategy for data analytics and artificial intelligence for the bank, in-house or outsourcing?
Well, very interesting question. So, three things again I'm saying. If bank is making enough money, then I can buy. If I have deep pockets, I will buy that. Else, I will have IT team to co-create, right? And third is collaborate. If I can't do any of these, I can't buy. I'm a small bank. And the time I become big, may possibly I buy out. Some of the technologies are available to clearly plug and play. The second is I co-create. I build a startup company, bring him along. Just a thought. Obviously, as I said, my statement would always be looked at, should be looked at how board is coming together to come to a consensus, if I say so, and to really see this institution has a vision as we go further. But the second point, as I said, the internal talent within the bank, we can do a collaboration. And third, as I said, co-create. And third is, as I said, from a collaboration point of view. So this is a time to say we have just started in the beginning, but technology push, creating an experience for the consumer is the first step that we have started building it. But I'm sure over a period of time, you will see the data analytics. Data analytics, some bit has happened that is internal to us as part of strategy. So please allow me not to speak on this forum. But yes, the idea is more and more data usage gives you confidence, gives you enough of way to push that point more than others. Because it's so again, let me give you the statistics again. It makes enough sense. There was a survey with top company CEOs. And the CEO said that all along, so this was a survey in 2009-10 sometimes, because I was part of a strategy team in Bombay, and the report was discussed internally was the 60 to 65% of the CEOs saying that so far we were taking the decision on a gut feeling. Today, if you were to give a 5,000 crore of advance or a 500 crore worth an advance to someone, X person or Y person, you would have some sort of financials, which Sony sir know better than me, but basis that you take a decision and take a gut feeling. But data can tell you, analytics can tell you, they save the CEOs, saying that we will save 35 to 40% of our time, because that gives you support to say it's a what you call it is informed decision. Any decision taken is well thought through, is not gut feeling alone. So look at the CEOs, 35%, 40% time is saved if there is some decision input given by the data itself. So we have started some of the data-based approach, which is internal, but I'm sure there's a long way to go.
Yes. Let us move to the next question from Mr. TNJ Kumar. This is on banking. All the banks have become technology-driven rather than people-driven. The computer debits from my account for any matter, and the manager just shrugs his shoulder. The social quotient is beyond the staff who are put in a tight spot. Everything is done over the internet, that the human element is almost missing. This is a view of the minister.
Well, this is indeed a reality. Some of the banks, I'm going to name them, but as I said, my philosophy is not about the intelligent question that I would be poor on the IQ for in most of the people around here. But I certainly can tell you, I would be much more stronger on the emotional quotient, and therefore the connect with the employees and the customers is far greater to me. It's a choice. Please remember, banks are not taking decision on your behalf. It is a choice that we give it to you. And if you feel walking into a branch is much safer, better for me, please do so. The divide between the brick and mortar and the technology, we look at two ways differently. Acquiring a customer, a new customer, a person sitting in Canada or in UAE, opening an account, remitting the money is far easier. That's a reality we cannot deny. But when it comes to servicing of the account, branch banking, the brick and mortar model is going to stay. So therefore, two different models are used for two different purposes. So please use both. This is your comfort. I would love if you walk into the branch, people will be happy to help you and possibly much faster to deliver the services at times than they would. And they also would take an opportunity to understand you more and to look at any other requirement that you may have from the bank. That's something which I look at it. So it's not a world divided between this side or that side. It certainly is your choice that you make, and a very conscious choice that I would prefer to go to the branch and have a chat. And this is also valid, and it's going to remain valid. But my servicing becomes there. Acquiring becomes much easier if I do it technology.
Thank you. The next question is from President of Calcutta Management Association. Keep in mind the CSR activities of a bank. How can a big data and AI help, artificial intelligence can help increase the social value creation?
Yeah. Well, so I'll give you a very clear answer to this. As far as CSR is concerned, as I said, CSR, I look at it from a social impact point of view, social question. Anything in part of society that I should be part of, I would certainly see not only from a CSR alone, we're going to build something which country also had tried quite some time back, is the financial inclusion. Reach out to the people who have been deprived of the technology-driven banking, the nice banking, as we all are privileged to. And therefore the CSR and your ability to go to the last mile works well. What we tried before, I'm not again naming the bank or otherwise, look at the social impact part of it. And today in Kerala, I can tell you very proudly that we do touch base with some of the very credible societies in the state through which we reach out to the social self-help groups. SHGs are part of our design, and SHGs are, when I met the president of one of such society, very credible society in the state of Kerala, I said, sir, whatever finance that we gave, can we do a social impact study? So one member of a self-help group, a female or a lady who does maybe, you know, she's selling vegetables. If her earning was, say, 6,000 rupees, with the Dhanlakshmi Bank's assistance, if that impact of 6,000 has become 8,000, believe me, I'll be most happy person, because I've added 33% to her monthly gross savings. So she's earning from 6,000 what she's done earlier. Now she's making 8,000. That's the social impact that I would want to be part of. And banking, I cannot see any bank for that matter, and I'm more prone to making a social impact banking than others. And of course, as I said, I'm not to forget everybody. Data is going to help me to reach where it is required more than the other part of the state or the country that I'm in.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we are running out of time, so we will take a couple of questions from Professor Mani. How can we reduce the digital divide in branch level? And also, I think we can combine the question from Radish. What will happen to manpower once the banking goes more into technology?
Very interesting. Let me give the second answer, Mr. Ratish, first. My belief, see, in 90s when this whole computerization started, remember all of us had, some of you, Anandraman sir would remember, all of us had fear that the manpower, we are going to lose jobs. But what happened? Year after year, we added more and more people in banks. We added more and more jobs across the country. I'm not saying State Bank alone. I was in State Bank then. It was not State Bank, but almost every bank that came afterwards, it created value. But coming to this part of it, to my impact, jobs are not going to be lost. But what is more critical, as I said, every 2 to 3 years, you hit the refresh button. You do reskill yourself, upskill yourself to remain relevant. So therefore, there will be more and more jobs, more and more opportunities for the people, but you have to be extremely fit to be there where you want. On the other side of it, to reduce the digital divide, see, it is not a question of divide. My sense is digital we have to adopt. You don't have choice. We have to. Today, I go to scan and they say anything that I buy, or a movie ticket or a restaurant that I pay or online food order, how does it take? It does take barely 30 seconds. I'll give you my own example, sir. It takes less than 30 seconds on Dhanlakshmi Bank mobile to set up a recurring deposit, RD. You want to save 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 rupees a month for your son or your daughter or a granddaughter or a grandson. If you have an account, you can set up recurring deposit in less than 30 seconds. I did it myself. I did the time and motion study. I said, how soon I can set up? So is it a necessity? You go to the branch, you have a time, go, no problem. If you want to do it sitting in your drawing room, do it. Your choice. So digital divide, I personally, pardon me if I'm disagreeing with your view, but my personal view is digital does not divide you. It really gives you a comfort of what you want.
Thank you. We are going to the final question. Anandraman sir.
No, there's no questions. Really, Sunil, you put it in a very simple, understandable way, a topic which is very current and relevant today. So thank you very much. And
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to Dhanlakshmi Bank tripling in your market cap in the next 2.5 years.
Thank you. I'm really glad. So nice.
Thank you, Anandraman sir. Now let us move to the final part of our today's webinar. Let me request our Honorary Treasurer, CA Manoj Kumar, to propose vote of thanks. Today we have around 110 members participated in this webinar. Over to CA Manoj.
Good evening, everyone. It was really a wonderful talk, sir. The MD and CEO of the Dhanlaxmi Bank, Mr. Sunil Gubaksani, really explained the value creation and impact of digitalization in a very, very lucid and very understandable manner. Very thankful to you, sir. And also your approach on the social impact and the digitalization divide, what you just informed to us, was really enlightening. Thank you very much, sir, for your gracious presence and to agreeing for talking to us in a very short notice. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like also to thank C.S. Anandaraman, sir, our former chairman and CSB, and our former president of Trichy Management Association, for his valuable remarks. I would like to thank Sony CL, our dynamic president, who is taking day in and day pressures and pains for arranging the webinars. I would like of TMA, Secretary Sijo, all the MC members and all the members of TMA, students who participated, and all the guests, and all, I remember the Calcutta Management Association president who participated, and all other local management association guests who participated in our webinar. Thank you very much. It was a very, very useful and informative session. Thank you once again, Mr. Sunil Gubaksani, who was the MD and CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank. Really thankful for your presence and your gracious talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, one and all.
God bless you guys.
Yeah. I request everyone kindly register for National Management Convention, scheduled to be held on 21st and 22nd. Once again, thank you all for sparing your precious time with TMA. Thank you. Thank you.